Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the earrings I'm wearing right now. I have these in so many cute different colors. Make sure you check out that link down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's start off with Madison and Allan. We know they went out after his birthday party that was really a housewarming, but it was his birthday. It turns out that Allan felt like she was neglecting him the entire night, that she was catering more so to her friends than she was to him, wasn't really giving him much eye contact or attention, and he felt like she didn't want to be there with him. And after a while, she disappeared, and she was gone for so long that he thought that she left. Turns out she just went to the bathroom, and when she came back, he was gone. Neither one of them texted each other to let each other know what was going on. That's a huge no-no for anybody in a relationship, let alone married. Like, especially if y'all came together, you don't leave without one another. Even her going to the bathroom and not telling him is a big no-no. So I think they both were wrong with how they handled this situation, because she could have just told him, hey, look, I'm about to run to the bathroom, and he could have just texted her and asked her where she was before he dipped on her. I also feel like because the situation has been so one-sided, I don't blame Allan for feeling as if she would leave him, because that's how she treats him, as if he's like a secondary thought, especially when they first move into their apartment on the first night. Mind you, he just lost one of his friends. She left him alone that night too, so it's not like she doesn't have a history of not taking his feelings into consideration. He feels like she just still moves like a single woman, and he left as a way to retaliate. And I wish he would have not said that. I wish he would have kept that little piece of it to himself, because this whole situation is very emasculating to him, and he's been such a pushover and such a people pleaser with her and giving in to her every demand that, yeah, give her a little pushback, but you ain't gotta tell her you giving her some pushback. She said, where is this coming from? Because I've had this same issue in the past with ex-relationships, so it's triggering for her. He pretty much said he was just done trying for the night, because he always goes above and beyond, and he was just over it. Later on, when they had another conversation about it, he felt the need to once again brush his feelings to the side, which his feelings were very valid, but said, oh, I was just being emo. And she was like, oh, we both were being grumpy, acting like the issues that are quite blatant and in their face is not there. So then they meet up with Dr. Pia. She once again says she's struggling with a physical connection with him, and they're just coexisting in their apartment. He felt he was being ignored during the party, and so that's why he dipped. And, you know, she says she's just so used to being single. There's things that she has to learn and, you know, unlearn. And she also brought up the fact that some of her exes might have treated her similarly in the past, saying she doesn't invest the same amount of time into the relationship that she does into her friendships. So she said, you have a pattern of not being fully invested in your relationships. She asked Madison, what do you need to fully prioritize Allan? And she said compliments, that she doesn't get enough compliments from him. And he was very confused, because he was like, I consistently tell you, you look nice. And she was like, I want you to tell me I look beautiful and say that outfit looks good on me. And I'm just like, maybe you like your compliments to be a little different. I'm not mad at her preference with that at all. But to act like this man never compliments you is wild. And what's even wilder is, I know you don't compliment him. What do you compliment him on? And I really wish that in moments like this, Allan would stand up for himself, but he doesn't. And it's almost like I can't feel bad for Allan anymore, because you're allowing this to happen. Like, you're allowing her to paint this picture. even though you know your side of it and you know that you're not getting what you want out of it, but you won't stand up and say it. The lady on After Party, I forgot her name, I apologize, but she said that Allan kind of acts like the nerdy kid that, you know, finally got a date with the popular girl and he's so enamored with her, he lets everything slide because he can't believe that he's with this beautiful blonde popular cheerleader type. And I totally see that with him, and that's why he's just going along with everything. But Madison doesn't respect that. And I feel like if he were to put his foot down a little bit more, would she be attracted to him? Would she want him? Maybe not, but maybe so. Yeah, I just want him to treat her the way he would treat any partner. I'm not saying down talk her or try to downplay her in any way, but don't put her so high up on this pedestal to where your eyes are blinded, you have stars in your eyes, she can do no wrong, and you just allow her to walk all over you. Dr. Pia gave them a game to play, and it pretty much was Twister with very intimate questions. And some of these questions I did not need to know the answers to. I could have went the rest of my days without hearing Allan grunt. But an interesting question that was asked: have you ever thought about your spouse in a sexual way? And this was asked to Madison, and apparently she has, and she didn't tell him, but she ended up saying on After Party that it was on the wedding night. I'm gonna consistently bring up the broccoli draws because I do feel like that was a complete turn off. She was interested in him when he had the suit on, but then when he came in the room only wearing his drawers, I feel like it revealed too much. He should have just came in with a full pajama set on to kind of keep the mystery there, because I feel like that's when she kind of got turned off, unfortunately. She's acting like she's putting in the work, but I just don't think it'll actually happen, unfortunately. And plus, I think she's in a wife swap couple, so then we have Camille and Thomas. I had a conversation about race. I really hope this is the last time we have to endure this. But he acknowledged the fact that he never thought about how the black woman's plight in America would be different from a man's, because you kind of have you have the woman thing and you have the black thing kind of oppressing you at the same time, and it helps him to see from her perspective. She claims her intention was never to change him, and you know, him being the way he was never a deal breaker. It may have never been a deal breaker, but you're absolutely trying to change him. You absolutely want him to fit into whatever mold you have, and it's weird and kind of gives fetish a little bit, not gonna lie. But yes, once again, I hope this is the last conversation we have about this. We are gonna kind of allude to it later, but I would rather that than sitting down and telling this man that he's not black enough over and over. That is cringy. So then he surprised her. He set up the apartment, lit candles, had rose petals, bust out a massage table. He had a whole mood going. Okay, I hope this is exactly what she was talking about when she said she wants some R&B. This is like the whole 90s R&B love that she was looking for. But yeah, he starts massaging her, he's kissing her. I feel like it really would have set it off if he would have smacked her on the butt. I feel like that would have set off the entire mood for her. He really made her feel special, and she told him that he just wants to make sure that she knows how he feels about her. And she stopped everything. She was like, so I think it's time to stop playing and see what this is all about. And they head to the bedroom, and I'm like, did y'all really go do it right after that? Like, that's so... Y'all remember a few seasons ago when Stasha and Nate, and they were all in the shower kissing all on each other, and the camera was in there filming all of it? I'm like, y'all don't... I'm too shy. I'm too private. There's no way I could have intimate moments like that filmed and immortalized on the internet forever. Like, I could never do that. But shout out to them, because they finally consummated their marriage. They told Dr. Pia, And you can see the switch. They seem way more comfortable with one another. And he's like staring all into her. He's gone. Okay. He is totally into her. And you can see she's feeling him too a little bit more. And when it comes to their bedroom life, she said nothing's off limits. And he looking like nothing. She was like, nope. They start talking about love. And he puts a lot of weight on the word love. He doesn't want to say it without truly meaning it. And he's scared of being vulnerable because he's scared of, the person might leave. And, he starts crying and everything, saying that he feels like he possibly doesn't even deserve love because of how he's, been in his past relationships. And she let him know that everybody deserves love. And I feel like he does, because even though you probably did whoever wrong in the past, you actively have been trying to change, and you saw where you were wrong in those past relationships, and you want to make it right in this relationship with Camille, and that's commendable. So that's when they went to the jewelers. And this is how I know when Camille is talking about he wasn't black enough, she wasn't talking about that bar. She wanted him to look like he from the hood. Because they went to the jewelers, and she got him some little studs, and that was really a nice touch. I feel like that does kind of give him a little bit more oomph. Like it did kind of upgrade his look a little bit, not gonna lie. But she had him put on this huge chain, Cuban link, that's what it is, like big chunky Cuban link necklace that was iced out, and a Cuban link bracelet. And I'm just like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I thought you meant. He didn't look bad, but you could tell that's not his style. But he would gladly put those things on if he knew that, that's what she wanted. So, she got him the studs or whatever, and, she bought it for him. And he was excited, thinking this was going to increase her attraction for him. Child, I guess. So then we have Carla and Juan, and he woke up early for a weekend bike ride, and when he got back it was 1 p.m. and mind you, that is kind of late to be waking up, not gonna lie, but he just came home. Oh, you're just not waking up. Oh, I can't believe you're just not waking up. He just always finds a reason to criticize her. And he'll do it in a joking way, like, fun. But he's always poking at her. When you're always doing that and you're not showing any sort of affection, you're not, being romantic, you're not trying to hold her hand, hug her, nothing like that, I would feel like our relationship would be like brother and sister. She wants to go deeper with Juan. So she opened up and told him about her upbringing. She said she comes from a big Mexican family, but they didn't really know how to communicate. The only emotions they would express would be anger. They didn't really get to resolve conflict in that way. She also said that they weren't really affectionate with one another. There was no hugging, kissing, or expressing love until they got much older. She had to learn how to be affectionate from therapy. And that's why she's been trying so hard to get that from Juan, because that's what she wants out of a partner. She doesn't want a cold relationship. And she doesn't want to go back to those old habits. And he claims to understand, but he said that he's just not there with her where he wants to show any affection. You could try. Like, I'm not saying be kissing all on her, but how hard is it to hold someone's hand? Give her compliments. So they hang out with Dr. Pia, and it comes out that he hasn't met her parents yet. And she says she wants to make sure the relationship is of substance first. And he doesn't have a problem with it. He's like, well, I can move at her pace. He just doesn't care because he knows he doesn't want to be with her long term anyway. And I feel like deep down inside, she feels the same way. Because she's not getting much from him. She knows he's not fully invested. And why involve my parents? She brings up the fact that she said the relationship doesn't feel romantic. And he says that he's not comfortable with physical touch with her. They just have no chemistry. And Dr. Pia says you have to push yourself out of that comfort zone and get deeper. Because I think if he actually wanted to, they could get there. When we first saw them, like on their wedding day, they had chemistry. He was all over her. And on the honeymoon, if she would have went there with him, he would have pounced on it. And I feel like the turning point was when he said that he didn't think about her that whole day, and she kind of passive aggressively punished him for that. I think that was the turning point as far as the romance, because I think he ever really wanted to be married? No, but I think he, the physical attraction could have been there. Dr. Pia says they need to start thinking about themselves as a unit and push themselves out of that comfort zone and get deeper. Later on, she talks about how she got into doing hair very early on as a child, and she knew that's exactly what she wanted to do once she graduated. And now she's to the point where she wants to have her own salon, and she's been looking to purchase a spot. And he said that he's willing to let her utilize his resources because, he has a startup company and I think marketing resources and things to promote her business. I think he's definitely willing to invest if he feels like it's going to make them money. And next up episode, child, we're gonna see their relationship fall apart, I feel like, because he is not gonna be happy with what she's gonna tell him, but I'm gonna save that for next week. Now we have Michelle and David. She takes him to her eyebrow tech, and apparently she's been going to this lady for years and years and years, and they're good friends. And it was just weird to me, y'all. Like, I get it. You can become friends with, your beautician or, different people that you go to for service. But the fact that she had him meet her and she was just all up in their business while doing their brows, it just felt a little off to me. It's just funny because whenever we see Michelle with her friends or pretty much around anybody but David, she has so much personality and so friendly and laughing and joking, to the point where her friend said, well, yeah, Michelle is just overly positive. She's such a positive person. And then both of them were gagged. They looked at each other like, what? Even Michelle. Because nobody else has said that about Michelle. Not her sisters, not the friends. Nobody has said that about her. That's how I know y'all ain't friends for real. Then they went bowling with his friends. And once again, very personable, very friendly. More than we've ever seen her be with David. They start talking about their relationship, and she tells them that she's having issues with the physical connection as well as his living situation and lifestyle. And then brought up the fact that he cusses too much, and that he even cussed in front of her mother at a brunch. And the friends were brushing it off like, oh, that's an easy fix. That's an easy fix. And yes, it is an easy fix. But if you don't know better than to watch your language in front of my mother, how would you know how to act in situations where you need to display some decorum? And that's why I am on Michelle's side. Like, that was a real criticism. But on the other hand, she was treating David like a punching bag to them. And David was standing there just very much so embarrassed. He was like staring her down like, why are you saying all of this? Like, because she was just running down a list of things she didn't like about him. Why would you think his friends would be on your side? Of course they were going to defend their friend. You know what I'm saying? It's like she always comes into these situations like it's a battle. Like, I have to win this argument and tell you exactly why I don't want to be with this man. I have to prove it to everybody. And it's so unnecessary. But I also, just like I want Allan to stand up for himself and, defend himself or whatever, I would also like for David to do that as well. If you feel like you can provide, show her your bank account, show her your savings, show her that you can get a place if you want to. Most women that find out a man is living in their parents' basement are going to react the way, not to this extreme, but they're not going to be pleased with that. They're not going to be interested in a man like that. So I need for him to, if you can, defend yourself. It just seems like he can't defend himself. Like, he talks a good game, but you got to back it up. Pretty much the friend said that her expectations are too high and that he is a very genuine guy and he would be a great husband to her. They're shocked that she's not head over heels for him because that's how good of a man he is. So then they meet up with Dr. Pia. And she first met with Dr. Pia one-on-one. She says she can't get over the feeling that she's settling if she were to be with David. And she said that he has this simple small town mindset. And, you know, he only likes to eat certain things. She's from a small town and she knows that mindset and she wants to get away from that. She doesn't want that anymore. And the thing about Michelle, it's one thing to not want to be with someone with that mindset. It's another to be judgmental and elitist about it. I get it. You went through a traumatic situation and you're afraid of going back because that will be failure to you. But like Dr. Pia said, what if the people that gave you a leg up look down upon you the way you're looking down upon others? Pretty much she said apply that to David. And instead of feeling like you have to teach him everything, expose him to the things he's never known. I could get behind part of that message. But the part where she would have to elevate him, I don't agree with that at all. She shouldn't have to do that. Y'all shouldn't have matched her up with someone that she would have to elevate. And I don't like how they're trying to gaslight her because Michelle wanted to leave this situation and y'all convinced her to stay. And y'all keep trying to pull things up, which later on in the episode, they're going to pull up a clip of what she wanted in a partner. And it did seem to describe David to a T. She said something about age, passion for family, lights up a room, keep the conversation going. Yes, he is all of those things. Like, in what way does he keep the conversation going? Maybe that's not the type of conversation she was looking for. Maybe she wants to talk politics and he wants to talk sports. Y'all are painting the situation with this broad brush and trying to make David seem like he fits into the mold of what she wanted, but I feel like that's very disingenuous because David does not seem like he's ready to be anybody's husband anytime soon. He comes off as very immature, even though with this situation he is being mature and he's being very patient, and I respect him for that. But at the same time, he just didn't come with everything that he needed to be a husband. So yeah, when they pulled that clip out, it did feel very manipulative and icky. I just wish Michelle would just leave the situation. You don't want to be with him. You know you don't. You say it every chance you get. You tell his friends to their face. You don't have a problem saying it. So why are you still here? You're not open to it at all. And you keep looking at the experts to open you up. You're not. What am I missing from it? They'll tell you what you're missing and you still don't like it. So why are you here? It's like she likes to punch down on him. And that's what's annoying about her. Not the fact that she's not attracted to him. So then we have MM and Akechi. And y'all, I do not like the picture that he's painting of her. We already said that we feel like he's intimidated by her. But it's almost like he's trying to ruin her reputation in a way, and I don't appreciate it. We'll get to it later, but first she met up with her friends and she talked about, well, the friend that was there talked about how he called her aggressive, and the other friend that wasn't present for that was immediately taken aback. Like, the friend was like, everything he associated with aggressiveness was actually just being direct. You know, she just asked questions that's straight to the point. It's like, why would you not want someone to be direct with you in a situation like this? Y'all are strangers. Y'all are trying to get to know each other. Why dance around something? And Mem was like, we can't just keep talking about surface level things. We need to talk about our future. Her friend asked him, well, what have you done to get to know her? And his excuse was that they really don't have time. And Mem says he comes home and he's in bed by 9. She says she tries to have conversations with him and he'll tell her it's too late. So he doesn't leave much room to get to know each other. Pretty much he needs to compromise and try to put in the work in order to make this work if he wants it to, which I don't think he does. Because if you really like somebody, you're going to try to spend as much time with them as you can. She doesn't know how to show up at this point because she doesn't want to be called aggressive. So apparently they went to dinner off camera, and she asked, this is her side of the story, she asked him what did he do to prepare for marriage. And she said all of a sudden he gets loud, he goes off on her in the middle of the restaurant, and it got so bad that she said that she told him that they need to leave. His side of the story is they were having a tense conversation about the show. She asked him a question and didn't like the answer to the question and told him that he was raising his voice and said, let's go. And then when they got back to the apartment, she cussed him out. Mind you, he was telling his side of the story on After Party, and he was just being very vague about everything. He wasn't saying exactly what was said. And so she pressed him for more information, and he said that she was asking him to see pictures of his exes, and she wanted to compare herself to them. I don't want to just automatically discount his side of things, but he has a way of telling a story that feels fraudulent. Why would she say that she wanted to abruptly leave and tell you to lower your voice if you weren't being loud? And even Keisha was like, well, were you being sarcastic? He was like, yeah, I probably was. I feel like he provokes her because he wants her to fall into this aggressive narrative that he's trying to build. And he wants everybody to see her as aggressive because he wants a good reason to say no on decision day. He knew a long time ago that he didn't want to be with her, but now he's looking for that reason, and he's building up this aggressive campaign. So next up, they talked to Dr. Pia, and first of all, they came in separately. When we see Dr. Pia and the experts meet up with other couples, the couple either shows up together or are already there. The fact that they showed up separately spoke volumes to me. He did not greet MM, and he did not sit next to her. And he also had a very standoffish, cold, nasty attitude. And Dr. Pia confronted him about this, and he was like, oh, I'm not having a good day. As soon as he sat down, he immediately started going off and puffing his chest about her asking questions. Why can't we just enjoy each other? Why you gotta ask all these questions? What can be done to help this situation? Well, I'm here to be fixed. And she checked him for being passive aggressive and rude and said, we're not gonna have that. Take that out of it. We're just trying to get down to the bottom of things to try to help y'all mend your relationship. MM feels the questions that she asked to Ikechi are normal and healthy to ask. Like, what do you want in a marriage? And he said that's not the question that is bothering her. Dr. Pia said, well, what is it? And he said, I promised I wouldn't tell the vulnerable questions in our relationship. She was like, okay, there's nothing that's off limits that I wouldn't want you to tell. Go ahead and say it. He said that she asked him, did he want her physically? And he said that he didn't want to go there until they were solidified as a couple, and he won't initiate unless they're on that level. Personally, for me, now this is me saying this, I don't feel like that's answering the question. I feel like what she was asking you was, are you physically, sexually attracted to her? And he jumped over that and said, I'm not ready. What does that have to do with being ready? You know what I'm saying? Like, he never answered the question, and he never really answers the question. He always has these long-winded responses that are not direct in any way. And I feel like that's the reason why her directness bothers him, because he likes to BS. And if you directly ask a question, he can't BS around it, because if I ask you a yes or no question, you have to give me yes or no. So that's why he's so uncomfortable. He said that she tried to initiate a physical intimacy with him, and he said no. And he said that's when she started acting funny, and he confronted her about it because he didn't want to walk on eggshells with her in that home. He said he called her aggressive because he said no and she kept going. And he said he feels like he's just a piece of meat. Dr. Pia asked, well, are you saying that she's violating your consent? And he said pretty much exactly. I didn't like that he identified with that in the moment, and then on after party he tried to walk it back and say, well, I didn't say it, but you definitely agreed to it, like that's exactly how you felt in the moment. And that's something very serious to accuse somebody of. MM said she was confused because on the honeymoon she had put her hand on his leg and he moved it to his private parts. And that was the first initiation of any sort of touch in that way. Personally, I think he was being performative, probably in front of the other couples. And, you know, because we saw them be all over each other on the honeymoon when they were in front of others, and behind closed doors, he was running away. And so I feel like he's been sending mixed messages since then. And really, he sent mixed messages on the honeymoon and then completely withdrew once they got back. And she feels like anytime she tries to touch him, even non-sexual touches, he says stop. And she'll ask him why. And he'll say, I don't know you. And that's when all the aggressive talk started. That whole I don't know you thing bothers me too. It bothered me really bad when Jeff T, and I forgot his wife's name, but it bothered me real bad when Jeff T did it too on his season. He's well within his right to move at his own pace. And if MM is crossing a line, which she didn't deny anything he said as far as that was concerned. She even apologized and said, well, maybe some mixed messages happened. Maybe I was reading the situation wrong. Maybe I thought we were further along. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did admit to that. I'm just going to go based off of that and say she was doing too much and making him feel uncomfortable. So she definitely should back off of any sort of physical touch unless he initiates it, which I doubt he ever will because he just doesn't want to be with her. You could tell. And I feel bad because she felt the need to apologize, and he didn't apologize for being sarcastic and being a jerk and being passive aggressive, and everything fell on her because he doesn't help the situation when he has a nasty attitude. And personally, I would like to see the security footage of some of this stuff because I know y'all probably got it. I really wish MM would have just washed her hands of the situation, because after an accusation like that, it could really damage your reputation. And he only took it back on the after party. He didn't even take it back in that moment. So I wouldn't even want to risk being alone with him somewhere and him try to accuse me of that again. So him meeting up with her at her office, none of that moved me, and I just didn't even feel the need to talk about it. He gets on my last nerve, y'all. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I'd love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.